Okay, we're going to wait for him to get his earpiece connected so
yeah,
that
Tom's
he can
there,
fill us in.
as well as Kendall Harold. Shannon Cutler and Lisa Smith are at UC Medical Center gathering information there. So we've got it covered for you in many different ways, and we'll be sure to bring you the latest here. So let's see if Tom's back ready. Not quite yet.
Why don't you recap, if you would, Catherine, what we've learned in the timeline of this. When was the shooting?
It started at 8:30. Is that what we're saying, Mario? 8:30 this morning, and so obviously this has been ongoing for a while. The good news is many answers have come to this point. What we do know is that police are telling us that a man walked into this building, this home health care building in Fort Thomas on Grand Avenue, 20 North Grand, and chased a woman. We assume a domestic issue, but chased a woman around the building there, shot her. We know that she has been taken to UC Medical Center. He then, according to police, shot himself, an attempted murder-suicide. We do not know her condition. We know that she is alive and was conscious when she left the location there on North Grand, and we know that she is at UC Medical Center now, again, where we have crews gathering more information. We know that he is dead at his own hand. He shot himself after shooting the woman there after, again, chasing her around that building early this morning. So again, that's almost 2 hours old, and they're just now getting to the point where, yeah, the yellow tape is up, but the blocked streets, the blocked ramps, they are open again, as you can see by the cars rolling by there.
At least one person is hurt, is what you see in our chyron there, but as Catherine mentioned, we do have a suicide as well, so that would give you the indication there's no threat at this point. But you know, we have heard so much in recent years about schools and office places placing an emphasis on what do you do when something like this transpires. And you have to think that a building of this size and a company of this size, because as I mentioned, it's Personal Touch Home Care of Kentucky, but if you Google it, you'll see that this agency is nationwide and has quite a number of employees. It'll be interesting to see as we continue to follow the story today what has been in place in terms of how the workers were able to react and take cover and try to minimize any potential threat, although this appears to be a situation where the shooter had one person in mind.
We do know, you know, I've had some dealings with home health care businesses like this in the past. A lot of these people are contractors, though, and that's one thing you've got to think about, that, you know, a lot of people are in and out. They may not be full-time 8 to 5 employees like we're thinking, and so someone being able to come in, especially if this is a domestic issue, it might not be as unusual as we think. We do know that 20 people have were evacuated from the building, so that's how many people were there at that hour in the morning at 8:30. So certainly, you know, 20 people evacuated there. Certainly not a small number when you're talking about a shooter running through a building.
All right, I think we have Tom McKee ready to check in with us and tell us what he knows. Tom, can you hear us? Tom McKee live on the scene again, 20 Grand Avenue in Fort Thomas.
Too far away from the truck, so.
All right, we hear him talking, and apparently we still have a problem getting that connection. I apologize.
And we will continue to attempt that. And again, he's one of 4 crews that I know of that are out, and goodness knows there's probably been more sent as well. The good news in all of this is that the situation is over. So we want to be very clear there. This is in Campbell County in Fort Thomas, to be clear, on North Grand Avenue, a workplace shooting at a home health care facility there, where a man walked in, as we said, chased a woman through the building, we're told. Chased a woman through the building, shot her, and then committed suicide. So we are here throughout the morning to bring you the latest.
Yeah, we have to be so careful with what we report, again, because we don't want to put wrong information out. But it's interesting how social media, you know, we're checking Twitter accounts and Facebook pages, and a lot of people are weighing in on what happened. And you know, when you're checking all of those resources.
Speaking of which, I want to correct myself. You know, we're listening to this news conference along with you guys, and I said that the victim was conscious when first responders got there. She was unconscious when first responders got there, and again went to UC Medical Center. So that changes a bit. But like you said, this information is constantly changing, just like, you know, this is how it works in our newsroom. So speaking of which.
Yeah, we're going to try to go back to Tom McKee again. Tom? Can you hear us now? Tom McKee?
Well, Fort Thomas police are calling this a tragedy here on North Grand Avenue this morning, sometime after 8 o'clock. In the building that you can see behind me here, a man walked in with a .380 handgun and opened fire on a woman that police say was his wife. They could be going through a divorce situation, a domestic situation. Lieutenant Rich Whitford of the Fort Thomas Police Department called it flat out an ambush. The man tracked the woman down in the lobby of the building and shot her at close range, and then they say he took the gun and put it on himself. The woman, as you've heard, has been taken to UC Medical Center over in Corryville, listed according to Lieutenant Whitford in grave condition. When police first got here, they said there were a number of people hanging out of the building trying to tell police what was going on, where the shooter might be. It might be the second floor. Turned out it was on the first. Fort Thomas, Newport, Highland Heights, and other police agencies arrived.
Well, that is unfortunate, but you got the gist of it from Tom McKee there live on the scene. Multiple police agencies out there. We know that it was a man and his wife, and the woman in grave condition right now at UC Medical Center. Yeah,
prayers going out to her, and you know there are a lot of people very shaken at that building, especially
Certainly.
those who might have seen whatever was this chase that went on in the building.
Yeah, and apparently, like Tom said, if you missed it there at the end, this was just on the first floor. Still, a man chasing a woman through a building of any sort can be, will be, and absolutely is frightening. But it's a 3-story building, as Mario Ramirez has been telling us, and so this happened on the first floor. Multiple police agencies out there: Highland Heights, Newport, and Fort Thomas as well.
I wonder, and I just want to ask our producer, because we're getting information from various resources. Have we heard anything about a nursing supervisor willing to give an update on the victim? Is there any information? Nothing yet? Okay, we're working on that.
The latest we know is that grave condition, that she is listed in grave condition, and her husband, the shooter, of course, dead at his own hands.
Mario, let's check back in with you. You have some new information for us?
Yeah, okay, so Julie and Catherine, we've been talking about this place, Personal Touch Home Care. They've got 50 locations in 12 different states. This is the one in Fort Thomas, and you can see right now there's really nothing to look at on the street, but this is still an active scene, and we've got our news crews out here, and of course police are still on the scene. They've got a big portion of this area blocked off. Now again, 3 stories, 2,080 square feet. If we were listening to that police conference and Tom McKee's report, he said that it was the gunman's wife who was shot down in the lobby of this building. So we do know that the building houses a couple of different medical facilities, a CPA, a psychologist, a doctor, and a massage therapist. Again, 3 stories, but it was in the lobby. Now, when asked if there was an emergency plan for the building to get those 20 people evacuated out of the building, they said they were not sure. At least that is what I heard the police officer conducting that press conference say, that it wasn't sure if there was a plan to get those 20 people evacuated. But like we said, 8:30 in the morning, it was 20 people who were evacuated, and it was in the lobby of this building here on 20 North Grand Avenue. Of course, we'll bring you the latest information and background as soon as we get it, but we'll send it back to you guys, Catherine and Julie.
Mario, thank you. Even if there is a plan, I just can't imagine at that moment that is at the forefront of your mind. It's a tough situation. We want to check in now with Shannon Cattler, who's live for us at the scene now with the latest that she's learning. Shannon.
Well, Catherine, I'm here at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center, and I just spoke with the shooting victim's brother. He tells me her name is Alicia Waters. She's in her 30s, and they tell me that she was shot 4 times. They also tell me that she was able to talk, that she gave the emergency crews the name of her mother and her mother's phone number. So they tell me right now she is in surgery. They don't know what her condition is at this point, but they feel very positive because she was alert and she was talking. They tell me that she was in the process of a divorce with her husband, and that they tell me, this is according to the brother of the shooting victim, that he came to her workplace, that she's a receptionist there, and that he opened fire and again shot her 4 times. They tell me, again, this is the family, that he then turned the gun on himself and that he is deceased. So we know that the police are here at the hospital. We haven't had a chance to talk to them. But again, this is all the information I've just learned just moments ago from the family. Catherine?
Well, you have quite a bit of information, Shannon, and obviously the family members are a good source that we feel comfortable giving the information. And you always think about next of kin being notified before you announce a name, but clearly the family is there and talking to you. So Alicia Waters is her name. Do you know what part of town?
Yes, they tell me they are all from Florence. Okay. And I did check with them. I asked them if it was okay if we were to release her name, and they said yes, and that they're asking that the community say prayers for her, to keep her in your thoughts and prayers. They're very, as you can imagine, shaken up about this. She has at least 2 brothers, and her mom are here, and they're asking for lots of prayers at this point for her.
Shannon, does she have any children?
They said no.
Okay.
They said they do not have any children. They say that they were in the divorce process, she and her husband. They were about 2 or 3 months into the process. I said, had she been concerned for her safety? Had there been threats made? And they said no, that this just comes as a huge shock to them that this happened. Again, they say she was at work, that she's a receptionist there at this medical office building, and she was at work. And they said that they're hearing that he came in and shot her 4 times, and again, that she was able to give the emergency crews, the first responders, her mom's name and her mom's phone number. So they say she is tough, that she's also the sweetest person, they tell me, and they're just, again, asking for prayers.
Shannon, thank you. And Shannon is sharing some of the information, unlike those of us sitting in here and you guys watching at home. Shannon's been out and about gathering information, so it's good to hear that a lot of this information is the same as what we're hearing from other sources. So Shannon Kettler, thank you. So again, if you just missed it, Alicia Waters is the woman who was shot inside this business in Fort Thomas. She was the receptionist at this home health care business. Now, Tom McKee initially said that her condition was grave. That is one of those terms that is not technically a condition as far as what a medical professional will tell you. It might be what a police officer might tell you. The good news is she was talking to her family.
Giving information,
phone numbers, and so that certainly is good news and much better news than hearing that she was in grave condition. Her husband at this point, whom she is was in the process of divorcing, is dead. A suicide after he tried to shoot her, in fact, and did shoot her 4 times in that office building.
So she's in surgery right now, and you heard Shannon say the family is asking you for your prayers, if you would. And when we come back to you with a full report at noon, we'll give you an update on her condition. Any information that we get, of course, you'll see first on WCPO.com, Twitter, and Facebook. But we will have a complete report for you at noon and find out if there's anything else the family might need at this time.
And so just to recap for you, at 8:30 this morning, there was a workplace shooting, at North Grand Avenue, 20 North Grand in Fort Thomas. That's in Campbell County in northern Kentucky. And we know that a man walked into the building. We know that he is the husband of Alicia Waters of Florence. He shot her after chasing her in that building, shot her 4 times. She is now at UC Medical Center, currently in surgery. He then turned the gun on himself and shot himself. So police in Fort Thomas say there is no threat to the community there in Fort Thomas.
All right, we want you to stay with 9 News and WCPO.com for the latest here, and we'll return you now to your scheduled programming.